Greetings to all esteemed audience. I am Nastya. Presently, I desire to undertake and impart with you the methods I employ to enhance my own abilities. Condition of the mind and body, both mental and physical. And what is your opinion on what it will be? This will be knitting. Today I will demonstrate to you how to craft a stunning object with your own hands, utilizing your own physical form. By the way, knitting is not just about creating cozy things, along with the practice of meditation, which is capable of bringing transformation, mitigate stress, and enhance mental well-being. The physical advantages of knitting are also extremely significant and should not be underestimated. The small and precise hand movements required for working with needles and threads greatly contribute to enhancing motor skills and coordination abilities in individuals. So, what are we going to do today? Today we are going to make this gorgeous top, which is currently being worn by me. And now I'll show you his and more, in a bright, vibrant color, offering optimal visibility to see every detail and ensuring nothing goes unnoticed. This is such a top with such a background that lies behind. It is important to consider its impact on the present. So what are the things that we need for this? Initially, it is a thread. You have the option to select any type of thread. I'm able to knit using a wide range of threads, including thick, regular, thinner, and very thin threads of varying thickness. And so thin that even dense, similar to a small rope, characterized by its compactness and thickness. So, take the thread. The hook that is the size of your thread. Today I will have a fairly thick thread for my sewing project. For that reason, I will crochet using a 5mm crochet hook for my project at hand. In addition to that, you will also need to have these items in order to complete the task. Hooks are used to mark specific points where you need to stop or indicate a certain number of loops or repetitions, making it easier to keep track of your progress and ensure accuracy in your work. I make use of these hooks. Scissors, without a doubt. If you happen to require them in a particular location or situation, they are indispensable. It will be necessary to have a cutting tool in order to cut. We will start with what we are. We need to knit the elastic band at the very bottom of the project, as it is an essential component of the knitting process. This is my typical method of typing 15 loops in this particular location. Here, but it already depends on what kind of rubber band you want. You can make it thin or as wide as mine. So I generate a total of 15 loops, and now I will demonstrate how I accomplish it. After we reach a tie with this specific one, in the initial row, we incorporate an additional loop to enhance our design and optimize functionality, ensuring a more efficient and effective outcome. We rotate our product, and now I will demonstrate to you how we proceed with knitting. So what did you observe? We grab and we tie it up. Here's our product. We see it like this from this side, right? Position this small loop at the top and carefully place this particular section of the braid in the lower part of the hairstyle, ensuring that it is securely fastened. And so we take each lower one. And we knit in this manner. I typically obtain around 100 rows. Each time we engage in knitting, we make progress and create beautiful fabric. We arrive at the final point, create a single loop, and rotate the product to complete the process. And so, there were approximately 100 lines. So when we finished tying our rubber band, we felt a sense of accomplishment. It seems to resemble this in some way or another. Our goal is to connect one end to the other. At this moment, I will demonstrate to you the visual representation of what it looks like. after we connected our two devices. Parties, we acquire all of it in this particular manner. Following that, we proceed to construct a solitary lifting loop, resembling the one we previously made in an identical manner, with only one loop in total. And at this moment, I will demonstrate to you the subsequent steps. Upon reaching the conclusion and requiring the connection of two sides, we proceed to link them together, creating a single loop, followed by a rotation of our work, enabling us to continue the process of knitting. I'll display visually now, of course. How does this happen? And I will explain why we flip the product. Why don't we simply knitting in only one direction at a time? This is what we do in order to achieve. Ultimately, it turned out to be an incredibly small pattern, similar in shape to columns. To achieve this, you must flip it in order to succeed. Not a rubber band, but instead a group of columns. Now you'll see how it should be done. So, what do we do when we connect these columns with each other? Nothing complicated is happening here. We do the same thing, making one loop with an increase. And what do we do next? To begin, you must divide the product in half. Since I have 100 loops, it turns out. There are 50 in the front and 50 in the back. We measure these 50 items to determine their size and dimensions accurately, solely by means of these hooks. And in front of us, we are able to measure a distance of 25 units and another distance of 25 units. They hooked ours exactly the same 25 measured as before. Hook measured 25 and hooked the second in order to. You knew for sure and didn't make a mistake. After we celebrated, we start. Engage in knitting our chest, so to speak. Here is an overview of what we are currently doing. We make a loop with an increase and the first two columns in order to. Our product was already in existence. To create a unified structure, we extract the first two loops and the last two loops, then connect them together into one, forming a single loop. However, solely in the initial two columns. In the third column, we only connect the last two loops by establishing a connection between them. And so until the moment there will be an absence of 4 loops, none of them will be left. When we have 4 items remaining, we simply take the knitting and start working on our straps. Here, you're already measuring by your shoulders. Measure approximately how many rows you need. I get about 18-19 such rows per loop. There are a total of 19 rows that repeat in a loop. On the rear side, we execute it using the exact same approach and methodology. We measured 50 and 50 and that's it. There are a total of 50 objects located behind on each side. We measure our chest with 10 loops so that we have a place for handles, so that it is not completely compressed. I measured 10, marked 10, and positioned it accurately on the back of the item. Additionally, we create the initial 2 columns. We establish a connection between the first 2 loops and 2. The ultimate iterations transpire in 2 columns located within the third column, and subsequently, we solely establish a connection between 2 of them, the ultimate and concluding loops, and that is the entirety of it, without any further elements or components. Upon finishing the knitting of the back, we came to a halt and stopped our progress. Establish a connection using loops, in a similar fashion as previously mentioned. We established a connection and discussed our products in principle during our meeting. I hope everything was clear, but I will demonstrate to you the proper technique for performing chest exercises now. Connect the loops so that you don't make a mistake. Well, in the end it transpires that crafting such a stunning object with one's own hands is a truly rewarding experience, which appears incredibly magnificent. Now I will demonstrate to you the visual appearance from both perspectives. I hope you had a great time watching this video and were able to acquire some valuable skills by following along with me. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for updates. Bye all!